Hey, welcome to the Stinkin podcast alongside Mike Evans. I am Mark Schlereth. Week 11 concludes today, Monday Night Football. But, Mike, what a Week 11 it was, especially if you were watching that Tennessee-Houston game. I'm telling you what, boy, that bad boy finished.
Can we lead with that?
We probably should. Maybe we'll put it on the back burner just to give you guys some suspense. How are you, buddy?
I'm great, and you gotta. Maybe we need to apologize in advance. We're a little bit giddy here in Denver, Colorado, because ding dong, the witch is dead. For years, the Broncos just were bullied by the Kansas City Chiefs. Just
16 straight wins.
17 out of 18 in games that mattered, And yesterday, in a game that the Chiefs had to have if they wanted any real hopes of being able to win the division, the Broncos took them right down to the end, and it was the Chiefs, not the Broncos, the Chiefs who blinked first.
It's awesome, right?
Oh.
Just incredible to watch what went down. And I tell you what, man, for the Broncos to have that kind of performance defensively, offensively, when you couldn't run the ball. And I always say this, when I'm watching a game or I'm analyzing a game, what is the coordinator telling me about this football team by the way that coordinator is operating? And for the Broncos, like, you look at Steve Spagnuolo, he's just a great coordinator, has been for a long time. What he was saying is, I don't believe that Bo Nix can beat us. I mean, we're going to shut down the run. We're going to stop this run game of the Denver Broncos, and we're going to put it on Bo Nix's shoulders. And Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Bo Nix converted on third downs. Bo Nix kept drives alive. And I thought that was incredible. You answered the bell. If you're Bo Nix, you answered the bell. A lot of people have questioned because they haven't been very good offensively. Their offense has, they've sputtered. They've had some really good fourth quarters, but they have not had consistency in Denver as an offense. And then we were coming off a Thursday night game where you had this little mini bye, and the Thursday night game offensively, the Broncos were atrocious. Now, I had told you because I did a breakdown of it, and I was like, Bo Nix wasn't as bad as everybody in the nation made him out to be. After that Thursday night game, they had receivers that weren't beating one-on-one coverage. They couldn't block the inside games the Raiders were running. They kept guys on the edges to block up the edge, pass rush with Max Crosby. So, the Broncos, they had a lot of failures in that game. It just manifested itself in that the quarterback sucks. That's what the national narrative was. Remember, Colin Cowherd came out and made some statement like, do you think Sean Payton is through with Bo Nix? Which was just garbage. But, all those things went down. And then the Kansas City Chiefs Steve Spagnuolo goes, hey, man, we're going to make this quarterback beat us. And you know what he did? He beat him.
He beat you.
Yeah, he beat him. And he was phenomenal, man. What a great job that he did just orchestrating that offense.
Yeah, I thought the biggest thing with Bo Nix was, and his numbers were really good as well, but he didn't throw for a touchdown, no picks. But I think for people who've watched Bo a lot, as we have, the eye test really proved it for me because he looked calm. He didn't look rushed. He stood in the pocket more. Mm-hmm. He stepped up in the pocket. His footwork was a lot more stable. It wasn't as, frantic. Yeah. He wasn't looking to just escape and run away from pressure. I just thought from everything that he wasn't, through most of this season, and certainly in that Raider game, he was in this game. And I don't know whether it was the coaching or he just kind of reached some point where he realized he had to be better. But right. He was. He looked He looked good.
And Jim Nantz and Tony Romo said in the broadcast, they were like, hey, we talked to Bo Nix, and Bo Nix talked about how bad his feet were and how, kind of frenetic he was in the pocket. And you've got to have great foot energy, but your feet got to be underneath you, and it can't just be, jittery. So look at all those things, and it was tremendous, even though, let's face it, All right, Kansas City, here it comes. And I know you guys don't want to hear this, but the refs tried to help you. They tried to bail you out. They took away a pick six. Clearly, that what they called on Riley Moss isn't called on every play in the National Football League. Every offensive pass play in the league has that level of contact on it beyond 5 yards. It was 5 or 6, 7 yards, whatever it is. It was in that 7-yard window. Every single pass play has that on there. And yet the refs took that one away. They had a couple other. I think it was 10 penalties to 10 penalties, but one had, the Kansas City Chiefs had 69 yards of penalties, and the Broncos had 150 some odd yards of penalties.
So, quick final thought on the Broncos. Then I want to get to the Chiefs. Final thought on the Broncos. Broncos are 9-2. They are currently the top team in all of football. Mm-hmm. When you look at the standings and tiebreakers, is it? Sean Payton raised some eyebrows at the beginning of the season when he said, "I've had 6 teams prior that I thought were capable of winning a Super Bowl. This is number 7," and we're all like, "Come on, Sean. What are you doing? What are you?"
Right.
But
yeah,
is this a Super Bowl contending team now, the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, and remember this now. You're not going to get your running back back.
J.K. Dobbins is out.
J.K. Dobbins has the foot. He had to have surgery on it. He's not coming back. So you missed your best running back in this game. You're going to get Singleton back, their defensive play caller, the green dot middle linebacker, who is a phenomenal football player. And you missed the best DB in football in Pat Surtain, who's coming back from a pectoral injury. So you're going to get you're going to get 2 of your best 3 players back on your roster. Now, I still think they have to figure out their run game because they've got to be better than they were yesterday. But I will say this, Sean continued to call the run even in that last drive where they took that last drive, ate up the entirety of the clock, converted a 3rd down and 15. I mean, they did a lot of things exceptionally well. And that effectively ended the Kansas City hopes of putting together their 10th AFC West championship in a row, right? Yeah.
So who are the Chiefs? Because, a few weeks ago on this podcast, we were like, oh, boy, they look like they're back. Back.
Right.
Oh, boy, the Chiefs. But then they go to Buffalo and lose, kind of a lackluster performance. But then they have their bye. And Andy Reid, 21-4 coming off bye weeks. Okay, the Chiefs are going to come out and send a message. But they don't. They get beat. And now they're at 5-5, and not only is the AFC West title probably out of play, but even for the wild card, the 3 teams that are ahead of them in the wild card race are all teams that have already beaten them head to head.
Yeah.
So
it's
who and what are the Chiefs right now?
It's not a foregone conclusion. I mean, obviously, I think it is a foregone conclusion. They're not going to win the AFC West. I mean, that's pretty much done, right? Mm-hmm. That ship has sailed. But, people keep talking about, well, they'll be a wild card. Will they? Will they be a wild card team? I think right now, and maybe I'm wrong about this, Mike, and I'll ask you, right now, at 5-5, do you think the Chiefs can hold off the Raiders for last place?
Ooh.
I mean, here come the Raiders. The Chiefs could end up, giving up the panties. Yeah. Who knows?
Giving up the panties. Hey, come on, Chiefs Kingdom. You've been kicking people's ass for a decade, okay? You knew that turnabout was going to be fair play at some point. Let's get to some of the other games.
All right.
The Rams in Seattle. About for NFC West supremacy, maybe a battle for best team in the NFC. So the Rams come away with the victory. It wasn't dominant. Sam Darnold throws 4 picks.
Right. You throw 4 picks in a game like that, and you should lose by 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And you look at Seattle's defense, their ability to play great defense. Mike McDonald, their head coach, the play caller on the defensive side of the ball, has got them playing exceptional, and I mean exceptional defense. And even with those 4 turnovers, I mean, Seattle just settled for field goals. They were down in the red zone multiple times, and multiple times came away with just field goals as opposed to touchdowns. That's got to get rectified. You've got to be better down in the red zone. And part of being great in the red zone to me is your ability to run the ball. If you're going to create separation, right? Because there's two ways you create separation. Like there is high-low separation, which becomes very hard in the red zone because there's not as much room. And then there's kind of east-west separation, deceptive plays, where you bring everybody one way, you fake a handoff, and you have a slide coming out the backside, and it creates kind of a separation of the defenders. But the bottom line is I think you have to be able to run the ball down there. And that's one of the things you've got to get done. But for the Seattle Seahawks to play them 21-19 at SoFi and play them that close with Sam Darnold throwing 4 picks, most of them in the middle of the football field, like I think you come away with you're disappointed in the loss, but you clean those things up. Right, you clean up some of your red zone stuff. So you instead of kicking 4 field goals down there, you kick 2, and you score 2 touchdowns. I mean, you got to actually feel. I know it's a loss, but don't you have to feel kind of good about what you were able to accomplish at a 21-19 loss?
Yes and no. And the reason I say yes or no is because are you convinced, or are you concerned, or do you need evidence that Sam Darnold has the clutch gene? Does Sam Darnold possess the clutch gene? Remember last year with Minnesota, and they went and they played in that playoff game against the Rams. Only 9 points, took 9 sacks.
Yeah.
You're one that always believes that sacks ought to be more of a quarterback stat. And then in this game, big game, throws 4 picks. Does that call into question at all Sam Darnold and his big game abilities?
I think you're always going to look at that. And part of that is, I think part of that question is you just sit back as a coaching staff and say, okay, how do we support him? How do we get him, out of the feeling that, hey man, I got to make a play, or I got to avoid the check down and throw one down in the middle of the football field. I got to throw it into traffic, whatever. So I think part of that is your coaching to sit down with him and say, hey dude, you don't have anything to prove to us. Right? I think Sam Darnold's been trying to prove things since he left Carolina, right? Prove that I can learn an NFL system in San Francisco. Prove in Minnesota that I'm worthy of this starting position. Prove now in Seattle that the investment you made in me is going to pay off. Right. Like you've already earned it. To me, you've already earned it, dude. You don't have to prove anything to us. What you have to do is we've got a good enough defense. If we just possess the ball, don't turn the ball over, we come away with a win in that game. And sometimes those are the toughest lessons you have to learn as an NFL player. And I know that he's been around a long time, didn't have a lot of success early, got kicked around, got booted around a little bit with the Jets and the Carolina Panthers. I would just tell you that I walk away from that and think I think of it as more of an opportunity for Sam Darnold to just kind of take a breath and go, okay, listen, here are the mistakes I made. If I don't push the ball like that and rely on our defense to play the way they've been playing, we walk away with a win in that game.
All the attention being given to the Rams in Seattle, do we overlook San Francisco at our own peril? Brock Purdy came back, threw 3 touchdowns. They put up 41 points. Are the 49ers back in play here now that Brock Purdy is back? Does Brock Purdy's return make that big of a difference?
It was Arizona.
True.
So let's. I think that Brock Purdy. I got this a lot. I mean, I did some San Francisco shows last week where people were like, "Hey, man, Mac Jones is playing really good football, and Mac Jones this," and I'm like, Brock Purdy's your starting quarterback. Brock Purdy is one of those dudes, the timing of the routes, the route combinations, the understanding of the offense, man, that guy's as good as it gets. But he also gives you a little bit why you're waiting for receivers to get healthy, why you're waiting for guys to get back. He's one of those guys, more than Mac Jones, can extend a play a little bit, can motor around a little bit, can buy himself a little bit of time for this offense. And, to me, it was a no-brainer. You go back to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, you paid him for a reason. He's a better quarterback than Mac Jones. And Mac Jones did an unbelievable job while he was in there filling in for Brock Purdy. And it's great to know you have that kind of depth at the quarterback position. So I thought that was great. But no, I thought it was the right decision to go back to Brock Purdy. And we'll see, man. They've had so many injuries. Can they get relatively healthy? And the guys who aren't coming back, the guys who fill in for those dudes, can those guys gain this valuable experience down the road here to where all of a sudden at the end of the season, they are fighting, they're fighting for the crown, or they are fighting for, because you can still win that division theoretically, right? What are the Rams right now? They're 8-2 now.
8-2, yeah.
And now Seattle's 7-3. And what are the Niners? 6-4?
Oh man, you threw that at me right as I was talking here. I got you. San Francisco is 7-4.
7-4.
So 8-2, 7-3, and 7-4.
So they're right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
They're right in the and by the way, San Francisco did beat the Rams earlier in the season, if you remember. So I think that's right, right? They beat the Rams earlier in the season. So yeah, that is 100% correct. So listen, man, they still have an opportunity to fight for this division crown. And do I think they're going to get it? No, but you certainly can get in the playoffs. And you get in the playoffs, and you never know what's going to happen.
So a couple weeks ago, Dan Campbell takes over the play calling for the offense in Detroit, and it opens to rave reviews. They put up like 40 plus. But last night on the road in Philly, cold, windy.
Yeah.
Offense struggles, 9 points. Are they back to square one here with the offense? What does Dan Campbell do next?
All right, Dan Campbell was over 5 on fourth downs. And listen, man, a windy winter, the weather conditions, super windy. I remember that showing them pregame trying to kick field goals, and all that kind of stuff. Jared Goff was, I think he completed like 30-some-odd% of his passes. Like, that's just one of those nights where it's really hard to put a ball. It was not 16-9 or whatever. Like it wasn't like there was going to be a ton of offense in that particular game.
Do you trust Jared Goff if the game's not indoors or in a nice climate environment? Do you trust Jared Goff if it's Northeast, Midwest, West?
I love Jared Goff. I'm a huge Jared Goff fan.
But
when you're outdoors, it's nasty out. It's like that to me.
He just doesn't look comfortable.
No, the offense doesn't. The offense looks off. Not just Jared Goff, but the offense. And maybe the offense is off because Jared Goff is off in those environments. So until you prove that you can do it in that environment, and I'm sure he's got some wins and some bad weather, and because they're such a good team. But it's one thing to beat the Chicago Bears in Chicago when Justin Fields is your quarterback and say, hey, I've overcome the bad weather.
Right.
And then to beat a team like Philadelphia in bad weather, to beat a team that really is, a dominant team in the NFC in inclement weather, then all of a sudden you got something.
Well, Josh Allen has no problem with playing in inclement weather, as he proved again in Buffalo, accounted for 6 touchdowns, 3 passing, 3 running, to, basically single-handedly lead the Bills by the Bucks. I just wonder, for all the brilliance of Josh Allen, how sustainable is a model where you're basically having your quarterback run around like it's Pop Warner football, and it's a one-man show like that.
Yeah, like Josh is that good that he can do that and he can win games that way. The problem is we've seen them lean into that. We've seen them play that way, and then you get into the playoffs against really good teams, and you know what that doesn't? That doesn't produce victories for you in critical moments, in critical games. Like I still worry about them defensively. I worry about their inability to shut people down, inability to shut the running game down, inability to shut down the big plays on the defensive side of the ball. Like that is still a concern for me. And it's always a concern when the way they've been really successful in the last 2 years is they've become really balanced. Remember, they got rid of Stephon Diggs, and people were like, oh, what are they going to do offensively? They got a bunch of also-rans playing wide receiver, and all of a sudden they became such a balanced football team. You said, man, this is the way this thing has got to be run, right? And when they fall out of that balance, normally, more often than not, they end up losing games. They end up losing to better opponents. Now, the Buccaneers are really a beat-up football team, so that was a close game all the way through until it just kind of wasn't. But yeah, I worry about them playing quote unquote, and this is more of a coaching thing than it is a Josh Allen thing, playing hero ball in the playoffs, playing hero ball against really good teams, where all of a sudden it's almost like, hey, Josh, like things aren't working. Go win us a football game. Right. And that's always been kind of my biggest concern with the Buffalo Bills.
Kind of jumping around here a little bit. The game between Chicago and Minnesota. Chicago gets the win. They get a big return to set up the game-winning field goal. Yeah. Tough loss for Minnesota. You kind of see where their season's going. But Chicago's right there at 7-3. I know a lot of people are excited, but I get the sense you want to temper that enthusiasm.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at them being down to the Giants by 10 points and playing off schedule a bunch, and and Russ, taking sacks and getting an opportunity to come back and win that game, one they probably should have lost, but they won it. Give them credit. I still think, for me, like what Ben Johnson wanted out of his quarterback, who was supposed to be this generational talent, and what he's getting are two different things. He wants him to play on schedule. He wants him to deliver the ball underneath. He wants them to just be an efficient machine as an offense. And they're anything but. Where they have success with that quarterback, Caleb Williams, is when he's off schedule. And I think ultimately, like, Ben Johnson knows this league really well and knows, hey, man, you're not going to win. You'll win against bad teams. You'll win against Minnesota occasionally. But you're not going to consistently win enough playing off-schedule football from the quarterback position. It's just too many bad things happen. There's more there to me, when you play that way, there are just more opportunities for disaster than there are for triumph. And that's that fine kind of razor's edge you balance on when you play that way. And I get it, at the end of a game like that Giants game, that's the way it's got to be. And there were so many times, man, he was holding the ball for 6, 7, 8 seconds, scrambling around, making people miss. The majority of time, Mike, somebody's going to catch you, strip sack, fumble, touchdown the opposite way, and you lose. Now, it didn't come to fruition against the Giants. They won another one with the as you mentioned, the return. But man, you want to talk about just teetering on a razor's edge. And what I find is teams like that, when it's almost like what the Broncos did last year, being 5-5 and then going on this run and being 5-2 at the end of the season, last 7 games. And then going, wow, we feel really good. And then going to Buffalo for a playoff game and just getting ramshackled. I think it was 31-7. Like, that's what I feel like is, like, you're doing all this stuff. You're going to get into the tournament and you're just going to get your ass kicked. And that's what scares me.
But to maybe and use the Broncos Bo Nix comp here with Caleb Williams, same draft class. You take a look at these last 2 games. Yeah, he's basically completing like 53% of his passes. 1 touchdown, no picks, but only 2 sacks taken in those 2 games. He's not making mistakes, so maybe he's not making the big plays yet, but he's avoiding the costly mistakes, and they're winning.
Yeah.
And at least, you're winning games while your offense and your quarterback is still learning,
right.
Still developing.
You're playing good enough defense. You're running the ball with enough efficiency. And the biggest number you said right there to me was zero picks.
Yep.
So you're not taking chances with the football. And so those are all good things. 53%. I think he was 50% against Minnesota. Is just you're not going like against good teams. You're just not going to win against good teams. And so, but hell, man, they're sitting there at what 7-3.
Yeah,
there's life. And here's I think the beautiful thing. And go back to the Broncos, how we started this thing, right? The last few weeks here, they have just been getting crucified on our air, just about the way they have played offensively. And I told you this, like Sean Payton is fairly stubborn in the way he calls an offense. And he knows to win in the playoffs, hey, man, I got a team defensively and everything else that's going to get to the playoffs. But to win in the playoffs, we're going to have to become much better at, X, Y, and Z. And so I'm going to continue to work on X, Y, and Z, even though it's not working, because I know I'm going to need them come playoff time. And maybe this is one of those situations where Ben Johnson goes, hey, man, I know we're not orchestrating like we need to be orchestrating on the offensive side of the ball. But you know what I'm going to keep doing? I'm going to keep working my quarterback's butt off in those situations in hopes that we have this breakthrough and come playoff time, we're ready to roll. And you saw it yesterday right here in Denver against the Kansas City Chiefs, where Bo Nix all of a sudden, completed 65% of his passes. Yep. Right? Didn't have a touchdown.
Several deep shots.
Yeah, didn't have a touchdown, didn't have an interception, had a couple of drops, hit, was pretty money on some deep shots, even though a couple went off the hands and the fingertips of his receivers. They were to the right guy, the right decision, and they were pretty damn good throws. And that's why you keep pressing. That's why you keep doing it. That's why you just don't dumb it down, and say, hey, we're not this. We just can't orchestrate right now. And so, that's why, I would panic and go, we're not running this anymore. But to those guys' credit, to Ben Johnson's credit, to Sean Payton's credit, you just keep running because you're going to need it.
Quick thought on the NFL's most noteworthy, notorious, popular, infamous, whatever you want to call it, third string, now second string quarterback who got a chance to play yesterday, Shedeur Sanders. Made his NFL debut. He was 4 of 16 for 47 yards and a pick, trying to lead the Browns back. They ended up losing to the Ravens by the score of 23-16. Thoughts on Shedeur?
Yeah. Cleveland's got to stop giving him the shitty plays. They got to stop running the good plays when he's in. Listen, man, say what you want. 4 of 16 is not very good. A pick. I'm sure he took a couple of sacks. I saw some highlights. I didn't,
2 sacks.
2 sacks. That's pretty par for the course. Will he get an opportunity this week to prep the whole week, take the first team reps, and let's see what he does. Where is it? Where are they this week? Do you know?
Well, they dropped to 2-8 there with the loss.
Uh-huh.
So there's still 7 games left. So I guess in theory, if Dylan Gabriel passed the concussion test and everything, and was cleared to play, you might go back to him because he was your starter. But come on, you're 2-8. You got the Raiders this week on the road.
Yeah.
So, at this point, why not find out what you got? Give him a chance to start a couple of games and get a full week of prep. And because that's, you're already hearing from the Shedeur fans, he didn't get first team reps. He was thrown in there cold. And there's a lot of there's a lot of legitimacy to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth. You got to be ready to play.
Yeah.
You've got to be prepared and ready to play.
Well, a rookie coming into that situation against a team, that's a tall order.
Listen, man, I hope
everyone knows you got to throw the football.
Right. I hope that he gets an opportunity this week to take all the first team reps. I hope he preps his butt off. I hope he's ready to play. And then I hope he goes to the Raiders, and I hope he plays his ass off.
Yeah.
I hope he gets that opportunity. And I'm with you. Listen, you're not going anywhere with Dylan Gabriel. And do you really think that Dylan Gabriel is the answer to the Cleveland Browns going forward? And if you were honest, the answer to that question is no, right? And he's a nice kid, and I met with him a couple of weeks ago, and he's nice. But do I feel like he's going to lead you to the promised land? No, I don't. I really don't. And I don't know that Shedeur is either, but I mean, it doesn't feel like either of these quarterbacks are going to do that. But at least you have the sample size with Dylan Gabriel. Shouldn't you at least get somewhat of a sample size with Shedeur at this point?
Yeah. Let him play 3 or 4 games and then
let him play 5 games and then decide, hey, who's gonna take it home for the last 2, and then we're gonna do what we do.
Why not?
That seems like the best option overall for the Cleveland Browns. So we'll see.
Final thought: Jamar Chase.
Oh my gosh,
spitting. I know you went through this when you were the Denver Broncos. You had a big thing with Bill Romanowski spitting at Terrell Owens.
No,
and it nearly ripped your.
You trying to get me?
Excuse me.
JJ Stokes.
JJ Stokes. Excuse me. Nearly ripped your team apart. You guys, thanks to a speech by Mark Schlereth, able to recover and go on to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a copy of that speech. It should be put under a glass, under a light, much like the Declaration of Independence. There should be.
That speech was never written. That speech is indelibly marked right here, right in my heart. It's probably why I've battled AFib for the last couple of years and had to have 2 surgeries.
It's had to carry around the weight of
the speech. The weight of the speech, indelibly marked on my heart. It threw off my electrical rhythm.
Your heart,
right?
Your heart's carrying. It's too heavy. It's too heavy a burden to carry.
It's too heavy. I single-handedly won Super Bowl 32 for the Denver Broncos. I don't even like to talk about it.
I mean,
it's just
I'm sorry. I certainly never played at that level, but if you choose to spit at somebody, that's the ultimate. I'm sorry, that's the ultimate biatch move.
It's just such a chicken shit move.
It really
is. And the other thing is, then he comes out and says, "I didn't spit at no one." Right, and then you got 4K cameras all over the football field. What? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing? So yeah, if you do that, you deserve to get your ass whooped. And I hope it's a huge fine, and I hope he gets suspended because that's the way it should be.
Should Jalen Ramsey get any kind of punishment?
No, he got ejected, and Jamar Chase continued to play.
Yeah.
So Jalen Ramsey's already served his punishment.
Yeah.
And and I wish it would have been more physical. Like, I wish it would have been a little bit better punch, But yeah, no, you can't do that. Could you imagine if that would have been Aqib Talib? Oh. Aqib Talib would have ripped off a few chains, would have hunted him down in the behind the. That dude would have been. I love Aqib, man.
There's just some things you just don't.
Right.
Between 2 men like that, you don't do that.
This is, and
if somebody does
crazy,
that to you, that's the ultimate sign of disrespect.
Right. This is such a crazy, as physical as a game is, and as much as you battle,
right,
and all those things.
There's a code.
There is a code. There's a level of respect, and occasionally guys cross it, and that's a shame. But man, I've you think about all the battles you've had and some of the how you're fighting for every inch of grass, and every inch of real estate, and at the end of the day, you busted each other's asses and you work and you have a level of respect. Like you're never going out there maliciously trying to injure people. Unfortunately, it happens. The game happens that way, but you don't do it. You don't ever do it from a malicious standpoint. You don't try to hurt guys. But that's a level of bitch that doesn't belong in the game.
All right.
And he should serve a massive penalty for it.
Okay.
You got to at least suspend him for a game at the very least.
I'd agree.
And take a bunch of money away.
I agree. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, we shall see. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stink Truth podcast, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We totally appreciate you guys. Make sure you stay tuned for the Leftovers podcast as well as we talk about the game I called, Houston and Tennessee. It will be short, I guarantee you.